how multi-methods are useful to study dance as research and dance as general. So now with this introduction, India or Indian culture, where do you see Indian culture strongly? Do you see the Indian culture in the glass buildings that we have today, or the malls, or what you see as the hotels? Not at all. So they can be felt and experienced only through music, dance, theatre, architecture, sculpture, painting, textual tradition and literature, temple arts and arts of royal courts. These expressive art forms are the inner strength. This is the methodology. If you want to study dance, you have to go to all this. If you want to study theatre, you have to go to all this. If you want to study painting, you must go to all this. Because our field or our country had not compartmentalized these arts. They have seen art as totality. Art is an experience for us. If you want to be a good dancer, you should also know about sculpture. You should know about drawing. You should know about music. Look at the way, how the students were trained in those days. So that is what, with these things, now we open up the wider field for dance or painting or sculpture. Any field you take, we call it as fine arts. So these are all some of the fascinating sculptures I am just showing you. And the one is the Hoysala bracket figure, and the other one is from the temple, that is Bhogalingeshwara, Nandishwara temple. I will just take a view of all this from the Konark, and this you may be wondering whether it is architecture or sculpture. The lower portion, the Adhisthana, the basement, which has been treated with so many sculptures, so you wonder, is it a piece of sculpture or is it a piece of architecture? If you take its functional value, it is architecture. If you take its art value, it is sculpture. So that is the way. This is our Ramappa. Okay, so it is a special space provided for in architectural members. We call it as the unit of architecture. Each architecture space, we call it as members technically. So on the ceiling, this is the ceiling which they provided space. You can use it the way you want. So what the Ramappa temple's Thapati had done, he used it for a dance purpose. So you find so many dance figures, sculptures around dancing with Nataraj. So that is very interesting. So always they built one special Rangamantapa for performing the dance rituals. So this is from, I think, the Belur Halebedu temple. You have the space for dancing in Hoysala architecture. So this is the Ramappa. See, you have seen the Halebedu. It is a smaller, circular platform. That is Rangabhumika. I call it as not Rangamantapa, it is Rangabhumika, where the dance ritual takes place. And this is from Ramappa, where the dance, the services, the dancers, we call them as temple dancers. Devadasis is a very later term. If you go to inscriptions, we never get the word Devadasi. It is much, much later. So we get the terms like Patra.
They are called as Patra. So they are Ganikas. And in one of this inscription of Telangana, it talks about temple dancers, and they had a guild. And for some reason, social reason, they protested. The guild has the Ganikas, they protested. They are the temple dancers. So they were so upright. they're very strong, well educated, well trained in arts, shastra, text, in everything. You can't surpass them. They are of that quality. So this is one. And this is from Konark temple. They have a separate Jagamohan to perform dance or performances or dance rituals. And that elevated space is known as Jagamohan. Okay? And this is from Cambodia, Angkor Wat. Here you can see all dancers are similarly, same movements coming. You don't find them or any variations in their feet movement or in their kati movement or in their hand gestures. You go and see all over the hall of Cambodia, you find similar sculptures. Do we find the same in Indian sculptures, Indian temples? So many varieties. So just I gave you for an example. And this is the Natya Mantapa of Vithala temple, Hampi. This is one of the great site, World Heritage Site. Long back it was recognized. And you find the dancers and musicians. See, I wrote a chapter on musical instruments in sculpture in my thesis. It's a very, very important chapter to understand how the musical instruments evolved from 6th century or pre-6th century to 16th century. What were the musical instruments used for dance purpose? So this is one big chapter I have written on music also. So music and dance are related, you can't separate them. Okay. Now certain questions. Because whenever you are a researcher, you will have questions. So what are those questions? How dance sculptures emerged? How you see so many dance sculptures? You go to any temple from 4th century to 16th century, whether it is north, south, east or west or center India, you find so many dance sculptures. Why? When it emerged? Then where do you get the early dance sculptures? Very early where you get. Then why dance sculptures significant to temples? See, when the foreigners look at the temple, they separate. They think that dance should not be related to temple. Temple should be only for puja. In our culture, it is not so. Dance is also a form of puja. So they are there. We never distinguish that. That is the foreigner's eye, which will not understand us. And they interpret. And their writings become more taken by even our own people. They don't study the sources and understand. But as researchers, we should not accept such things. We should go to proper original sources and study and come back with our analysis. So then, when dance sculptures gained significance, and what way dance and sculpture, the dual arts. So if you take sculpture, it is a different field. If you take dance, it's a different field. But when they harmonized and became as dance sculptures, okay, then are the dance sculptures the creative impulsive expression of the sculptor? Any practices existed or not? It's only the fancy of the sculptor, he created all dancers? Not at all. Okay. So what are the sources to research on dance sculptures? So let us see. So crossing the boundaries by sharing ideas. How do you get to know all answers for these questions we have raised? That is only through when you cross the boundary and make it your study interdisciplinary. You should make your study interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, cross-disciplinary, transdisciplinary. Then only you are If today, whole world, you go to any library, my book is available. Dance and music in temple architecture, starting from Harvard to every country's library. Why it is? Because it is original research. It is original research with multifaceted, such researches will sustain. It is required. So because I did not do as mono study, I did it as interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. That was my interest. So it helps to develop multifaceted understanding of humanity. If today I was able to interpret human values of Ramappa temple, it is not just come like that. It was understanding of mind, the understanding of humanity through art. Only art will give us that human concern, that humanity. So that was one thing. So all disciplines like, humanities, visual arts, performing arts, they are all part of it, and several knowledge system will spring up. So interdisciplinary analysis, what are the things connected to each other? If you take dance, it's a discipline from performing arts. All of us know it is a discipline from performing arts and associated with music and theatrical arts. You cannot separate dance from these two. So it is interdisciplinary. Then sculpture, a discipline from visual arts. It comes from a visual arts stream. So then associated with architecture. Sculpture is closely associated with architecture and painting. Some temples also have painting, then it has own history and all those things. Then history is required. Whatever subject you do, historical background is very much required. Otherwise it will not have base. So history is required. Then literature. Literature of the period you have to study. You cannot neglect. It will give you some new approaches to understand the concept. So then you have jewelry, costume designing, lighting, stagecraft. These are theater, even for theater and dance, all these are required as a multidisciplinary. And Indian psychology, a discipline. You don't study Western psychology. It deviates you from your purpose. So go to Indian psychology and study it as a social, coming from social science or pure science background today. So that is the or you say that cross-disciplinary. From your discipline, you have crossed. It's a cross-discipline. Then sociology is another social science. So you have crossed your discipline, pick up the social contents of the time or today, why dance sustained in India as a classical dance form even today. Social, parameters are very important there. Then you have material sciences, because you have to study using the sculpture. What is the material they use for sculpture? Whether it is metal, stone, wood, it's a material science. That is the thing. Then documentation. See, this is for every researcher, documentation is a process. Scientific documentation, not just clicking photo and going away. Nowadays you all think that clicking photos is a documentation, or taking a small video and talking to that is a documentation. No, it is only reference. So you have to have a scientific documentation methodology. I usually go to many universities, have workshop only on research methodology for this field, and take documentation one day completely on scientific documentation, whether it is sculpture or dance or music, whatever field, documentation as the thing. So dance sculptures, now you see how dance sculptures needed multidisciplinary approach. Otherwise you cannot get the results. Of all this, if you don't have the aesthetic understanding of what you are creating, then again it is of no use. So all these methods are used, historical, comparative and all that. So then dance sculptures and multi-methods, you have so many other methods like composition and correlational analysis. All this we have to, and field work is very important. If you are depending on the period, even without period, you are researching on an artist. There also you require field work. Wherever the artist has performed, you have to go to all those places and document it. Only not sitting with the artist and writing down you are answering your questions. That's not the method. So all that field work is important. Interview method, identifying category and data. And Indian sculpture, dance sculpture started from the first sculpture. I said for my question when it started, it was Indus Valley. First dancing girl of bronze. It's only of this size, 6 inches, slender. It is in National Museum, Delhi. If you go to National Museum, go to Harappan Gallery. And it's a whole world come and see this particular sculpture. That means to say, 4,000 to 5,000 years back, Indians were so proficient in making metal and making metal sculptures. Still other world has not yet opened their eyes. But we were having that technology. So that is why world come. Scientists, artists, everyone come there. And then you have the Buddhist sculptures, Amaravati this side, and that side it is, this is Amaravati. See, this is in the Shrinkala, Pindibandha. 3 of them are moving in that Pindibandha form, and that is the procession in Buddha carrying here the granthas, Buddha granthas are carried, and these are all the dancers and musicians in the procession. And the apartment of the queen, where the dance royal court I mentioned, and the dance program is going on. And this is from Ajanta. You can see in the center the dancer is moving. You know, look at the graceful movement of the dancer. Okay. This is one of the very important dance figure or sculpture to trace dance history in India. This is Badami Natesha. We don't call him as Nataraja. It is Natesha. Nataraja is a latest word. It came very late in 14th, 15th century. Till then we were not using the word Nataraja. Even for bronze sculpture of Chola bronze sculpture, what here we have in front of you, the Chola Nataraja. This Nataraja we call only from 15th, 16th century. So when it was chiseled, when it was created in Rajaraja Chola's time, in 1015 CE at that time. When it was created, he used the word Adavallavan. That means to say one who knows to dance. He was very fascinated with this particular image. Everywhere he had this image. So he called it as Adavallavan. So no Nataraja. So this we recognize is dancing Shiva or Natesha. What is the speciality of that? This is the earliest sculpture which gives all the Natyagama. So from here we can trace Natya Shastra very clearly. So all the right hand side you see the hastas. There are no attributes or ayudhas holding there. Left you have the ayudhas, Rudraveena and so many things. But in the right hand, observe, there are no ayudhas, only Nritya hastas. So all Pataka, Tripataka, Mushti, Shukatunda, all the hastas as many as possible. It is 1800 arms, Shiva, the first time in India, a proper Natesha with Bharatagama, complete Bharatagama understanding is presented here. So that is why it is an important. From here it starts. My research started exploring this particular Natesha. And if I go on talking about it, it takes hours. See the details. Even the musical instrument you have there is, one is Urdhva, the long one, and the other one is Adda, that is horizontal. So both were used, not a Mridanga. Mridanga was not there at the time. It was not emerged. So this is the way they were holding. You can see more clearly the hands, very clear hands. And this is cosmic dance of Shiva from Ellora. If you go to Ellora, they are all gigantic figures. That's why I gave just a pose to show the size of the sculpture. We as art historians, whenever we go to, otherwise in a photo, you will not be able to make the size, make out what is that size. If I have to say it is a very big sculpture, then somebody, myself or a small boy standing, or if we have a scale, we keep it there so that it shows the scale of that sculpture. So this is a famous one. And that is from Kailasanatha, Kanchipuram. Beautiful Nataraja, 7th century. The date is 723. And Kailasa, Ellora is 750. That is Pattadakal, Virupaksha temple. All dancing Shiva on the complete wall you find. Very, very, sophisticated movements. And there is an inscription which talks about Achala. Achala is known as one of the great exponent in Natya Shastra. There is a mention of that. This is the first inscription talking about dance, which you find in Pattadakal. That is 8th century. It's a long inscription next to that sculpture, first sculpture. Next to that sculpture, if you happen to go to Virupaksha temple, there is a long inscription, you can read that. So that's from Assam. See, the Natesha concept has spread even in the East. You go anywhere in India, after 10th century, you find the Nateshas. And this is later. And that is the Chola Nataraja, the beautiful one. You have all the Nataraja things there. And these are some of the Hoysala sculptures and Kuruvatti sculpture. And those two are the temple dancers sculptures of Virupaksha temple. I was so surprised to see that. First I thought they are all in Nandi Mantapa, about 7 of them, like this. I thought they must have a Bhangima, they must have created. After that I saw there is an inscription. Name of the Veena Poti, name of the dancer is mentioned. So that means to say they are all dancers who were performing in Virupaksha temple, Pattadakal. That's the central one is myself. When I said goodbye to the stage, so I was like that. It was a hard decision to leave the stage and just be in library and work hard. And my eyes, fortunately God has given the strength, otherwise I would have been blind. So much of work. Living dance. These are from, that last one you must be interesting. Mohini from National Museum, Delhi. The beautiful, if you see her, the way her movement, her dress, stitched dress in 12th century. And these are the other. And the last one, even today we wear the dance dress like that. So beautiful, 16th century. This is from Vithala temple, Hampi. So now we come to very important, the Deshi dance forms, which were explained in Sangita Ratnakara, Manasollasa and other literature. Even Nritta Ratnavali gives Jaya Senapati. Nritta Ratnavali gives a detailed description of Perini, Gaundali, Dandarasaka. These dance forms are given, Chachadi, so many dance forms are given there. So this is the 12th to 16th century development. You find these sculptures. See, this is very important. Why sculptures are important? In the text you have, then in Kavya you will have explanation and detail, where you find the picture of that. How do you say that this is like this? Fortunately, these are all recorded in our temples. So they are the visual records. They are not just sculptures. For me, they are the historical visual records. They are so important for us to make our stand, understand our culture. Okay? So this is the Perini Natya you find in the Jinanathapura. Look at his dress, his gargara, that is the gejje. What do you call in Telugu? Gejjelu. You see that. And the upper one is from Halebeedu. The central one is from Ramappa. So that is the thing which inspired our Guru Nataraja Ramakrishna Garu. That particular, you must be wondering from where he has drawn his inspiration. In Ramappa, you don't find many Perini, going everywhere. You don't find. You have to really search for that. In only 3 places, I was able to locate that in my study while I was documenting. So this is one on the pillar, and that's the sketch. You can see little, details. And Perini was one of the very important performing, in those days. And Jai Senapati gives a detail, and Gaundali, another form, of female form. Perini is described as the male. There is no text or no kavya talks about women can dance Perini. But Gaundali is purely for women. They have to play on the drum, they have to sing, they have to dance. When they finish all dancing, they will raise their hand and finally go to with their drum, small drum they will have in their hand, and they go to the swirling movements and finally end up the climax. And they have to sing also, sing in high pitch. If they don't sing, they are called as Muka Gaundali, the one who cannot. It's like a dumb. So this is the Gaundali we find in, and in here you can see the panel. This is also Perini. Below Gaundali. Can you see that? Yeah? This one. Below Gaundali, you have the Perini group. So this is another place I found Perini in Ramappa. This is the Ramappa sculpture. And this is Dandarasaka, as mentioned in Nritta Ratnavali. If you see the roundabout, the pillar, there is a continuous movement. People are not leaving their hands or feet. They are going in a Pindibandha. So in that Pindibandha, you have the Dandarasaka. One movement is here. And that Kolatam is another thing. All of us in a very region, we have the Dandarasaka. It was called as Dandarasaka, not Kolata. Now we call it as Kolatam. It was Dandarasaka. So these are some of the books available for you to study dance and music, Ramappa temple. I have written one big chapter on imagery, dance imagery. Apart from writing all the things on Ramappa, there is one detailed chapter on dance imagery. And UNESCO people have appreciated that particular chapter as human values and intangible heritage of Ramappa. You see how valuable dance, being a dancer, I was able to interpret. A historian would not have touched that and would have said beautiful poses. How many beautiful poses? Just say beautiful poses. Then what? So that is my, Sukruta, I can say. I was a dancer. It helped to interpret. Okay. So this is in Kannada, and this one is coming up on 9th October. We are releasing this book. And Madhuri Surendra, you must be knowing. She is Guru Kalakrishna student. Andhra in Bangalore, she is known for her Andhra. She, took her complete, education under Guru Kalakrishna. So she assisted me in this book. And that photograph also, as compliment to her, I have put her photograph. Okay? Because she assisted me. Then this one book, I have given to Madam. Dr. Vanuja had given him. If you people are interested, there is a detailed chapter on Perini, on Gaundali, and research on entire research on India as dance research. And these are the books. And lastly, I end with my talk. Dr. Tulsi Ramchandra, she has worked. See, when I chose dance and sculpture as my forte, my interest, she took dance and literature. Younger sister to me. So in our circle, people say that it is so difficult to find two experts in one family or one group. So we represent that kind of research. So she mainly goes to literature, and wherever she needs sculptural support, I give her. Wherever I need literature support, she gives me. That is how we work in many places together. And she will be presenting in detail about Perini Natya. She has reconstructed both Perini and Gaundali. I request Tulsi to come and occupy, and I thank every one of you to be so attentive, and especially Kalakrishna Garu wanted me to come since a long time. He was inviting. Somehow it was not happening, and today, and Dr. Vanuja also 2-3 times she has contacted me to come. But I'm very happy to be with you all today, and look forward the great department in this Telugu University. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a wonderful presentation, and any questions we will take at the end of the session, because many of our scholars are also present here. We now have a short tea break of 5 minutes. Tea is ready. You can just go out, have tea, and then come back, and we'll start the session of Dr. Tulsi Madam. Thank you. I welcome one and all to the second session of today's seminar. It was a wonderful session, Madam, Professor Dr. Chudamani Nandagopalji, for that wonderful session. Our research scholars, our students, and including our staff were also, ma'am, very much thrilled by watching the PPT presentation, coming to know so many aspects, and we are all looking forward to the book which you have said on the research methodology for dance and music. Now moving ahead, we have another speaker today morning. We have Dr. Tulsi Ramchandraji, who would be continuing from here and talking more on the Perini aspects of dance. So I invite Dr. Tulsi Ramchandran Garu to please come forward and start off with her presentation. It would be a lecture cum demonstration presentation. She would be talking, showing us the slides, and then even dancing and showing us the different aspects of Perini dance. So I welcome Dr. Tulsi ji for her presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vanajaji. And very happy to be here, listening to my dear sisters' highly intellectual and scientific approach to this research field. It's an amazing field. As she was explaining, it opens so much of avenue to all the juniors, seniors and experts, because it is the living culture. It emerges, it will never dry. So after listening to her amazing and thought-provoking, mind-blowing lecture, I am her student and younger sister, and I follow her footpath. Bowing to her, and namaste to all of you here. And it was Kala Krishna Garu that he wanted Perini to be explained here in this Telugu university, because lot of people are now doing Perini here, but not in Karnataka. Nobody is attempting to do the Perini in Karnataka. But in Andhra, it is Ma Guru, the senior, Nataraja Ramakrishna Garu, who started, but I didn't had any opportunity to watch that Perini. Then later, like last year, Kala Krishna Garu sent me the videos of what Guru Nataraj Ramakrishna was doing. So mine approach is a little different, and I have thoroughly followed the Shastra. See, so many Shastra Granthas. This is our Karnataka dance tradition. As Karnataka is full and rich of its dance forms, after the intervention of Tanjore brothers, these marga of Karnataka forms, it just went on and it totally forgotten. Till 16th and 17th century, the Karnataka dance field had this Gaundali, Perini, Suladi, Kattare, Suchi Nritya, Kaivada Prabandha, Daru, so many things, Churnike, all these things were danced as a repertoire, as a marga. After the Tanjore brothers, the Chinnaya of Tanjore brothers came into Mysore court, and so many changes were there in Bharatanatyam field. Not even it was called as Bharatanatyam.
that is a very recent word. I don't know who have coined that, because Bharata has not denoted his teachings or his findings to only Bharatanatyam. You can study the charis, the karanas, the movements, the angaharas. There you find even it is international dance forms. Because when I went to America, when I saw the ballet dancing, it is so fascinating. They use all the charis, the akasha charis, the difficult karanas they use. It is not that Bharata has seen their dancing. It is not like that. It is the total Jayamana. We say in Jayamana, like it is the nature itself of a bodily movement. It is the bodily movement, or the nritta, or the angika abhinaya. Angika abhinaya is totally universal. We will adopt to our our usage, the provincial dances, and it became Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, Mohiniyattam, Kathakali, everything. So it is not only that. So the Perini, as my dear sister was telling about this beautiful Perini dancer, we will never find such a characteristic Perini dancer. It is in Jinanathapura. It is under the Shravanbalgala. That is a shrine, you must have heard of Shravanabalgala, Gommateshwara. That's very popular in Karnataka. Below that, this Jinanathapura comes. So in that Jinanathapura, we find this magnificent Perini dancer. Perini, as described by all the authors of classical treatises, they say it is danced by only men. No women are danced, only men. Why? When we go through that, the characteristics or the explanation given by the authors, the Perini dancer, he should have Bhasmadi Liptango Bibran Munda Shirishikaya. He has to have the Bhasma all over his body, smeared, and he should shave his head and leave a tuft of hair here, shikha. So this only men can do. The upper part of the body is bare, and he is wearing a very little challana. That cannot be done by women. And Bhrajat Gargarika Jala, Bhrajat Gargarika Jalam Jangha Sharira Peshala. It is the Gargarika Jala, it is so heavy. He has to tie from ankle to shank the gunguru or gejja to both the hands. It is really, when I started reconstructing this, I don't have men students, I have only girls. What to do? I made my girl students to do this. They were strong. We need lot of energy. It is like that. The steps, the movements, what you say, the Gargara Bheda is like that. So, this I made them to dance. When they tie the gejje, it takes 15 to 20 minutes. You have to tie around, tie around, tie around. And we should see that it should not fall down. And it should be balanced, both the legs. I keep 2 girls to tie for the Perini dancer, always. They cannot do it by themselves. It is so difficult. And then Panchanga Kushalasthalalaya Vichakshanaha. That is the main part of Perini is this Panchanga. Next. Okay, this is the entry of my reconstruction Perini. The Perini dancer, he enters when the Mridanga artist is playing di. Then he comes and then he dances for a rigoni and then get back, and he should dance with a chamara or a fan or the torchlight. I have made it a dummy figure of a torchlight also. You can play that. You can play that. Video was there, picture was there. And then this Panchanga, what I shall go on talking. This Panchanga is what then? That is the Nritta. This Perini is purely Nritta. Because lot of Angika Abhinaya and foot movements are there. Lots and lots. There are so many multiple complex gatis and talas. So this is Perini Nritta Gaundali Lasya. Perini Tandava. We can also say Perini Tandava. So when the Panchanga, the first one comes, is his Nritta, wherein he can dance for Tandava and also Lasya. Tandava is the robust movement. Lasya is the graceful movement. So, this is the Nritta. Second is the Kaivara. Kaivara is that wherein he should. I shall come to that also afterwards. Epics. The second is Kaivara, wherein he dances to the Sabhapati. He praises the Sabhapati and asks his permission to do the Perini Nritta. There is Shuddha Paddhati and Vichitra Paddhati also. So, that is second one. And third is Gargara Bheda. This is very difficult part. And in Gargara Bheda, each part of the foot is danced. That is the entry. This particular khanda is called Rigoni, wherein we have Chandana, Upashama, all these combines to make a Rigoni. and this will be in Tishrajati Attatala. We can do it in other talas also. And later on, we have done the other khandas also in this portion only. It is a long one, so I have made it small clippings. And then I'll come to that afterwards. As I was talking about the Gargara, the movement and then Alagapata is from this, they turn, make the Gejje, and Siripita is moving with this. You must have seen them. Later, they will dance for the Gargara also. Then you will be knowing it clearly. This is like that, just like this or like this. They move here and come like this. And then the Siribhira is, the shank is like shaken. We do in Kathak. After doing this for so many speeds, then we do this, and even only this, so like this. So that is called Sirabhira here. So according to Nritya Ratnavali, he says 7 types of Gargara, and Sangeet Ratnakara, these are all the epics. The Sangeet Ratnakara and those treatises, you can go to other, treatises. So many treatises. After 12th century, we have Sangeet Ratnakara, Nritya Ratnavali, Panditaradhya Charitamu, and Vasu Purana, Sangeeta Samyasara, Sangeeta Damodara, Nartana Nirnaya, Sangeeta Sudha. Next, Sangeeta Makaranda is a wonderful text. This I have transliterated and given my commentary, and it has been published by Archives of Karnataka. It is a very good book of Deshi styles. We have so many Udupus in there. Udupu is the Adavus of the Deshi styles. And then Viveka Chintamani, Sangeeta Darpana also is a very good, valuable text. Bharata Kalpalata Manjari, Sangeeta Saramrita, and this Rasika Janamanollasini is a very recent one. It is in the year 1910. And she is Venkata Sundarasani, the only lady among all these men treatises She is the only lady, but she follows most of it when Sangeet Ratnakara. And then comes the Bharataranava. Nandikeshwara also gives elaborate Perini description, but I liked Nritya Ratnavali's Perini description, and I followed completely the Nritya Ratnavali explanation only. After the Panchanga, third, he says Vikata or Bhavashraya also. Gargara, Vishama, Bhavashraya, Kavichara, and Gita. This is according to Sangeeta Ratnakara. This is also a Perini dancer of Jananathapura. I don't know the significance of Bhavashraya because Arvikata. Next slide. This is according to Nritya Ratnavali, Vikata. Vikata is that wherein you have to produce the Hasya Rasa. I don't know why the Hasya Rasa here, because it is a very serious matter going on here. I don't know why it is like that, but I thought later in Yakshagana in our Karnataka region, there is a Kodangi Ata. He comes in between and acts like a Koti. And he imitates everyone, even the Sabhapati. Every time he comes in between the characters and he does like a Kodangi, Koti. Kodangi is Koti, monkey. But I have left this part. I don't do. Vikata, or it is as Bhavashraya, I don't do. I didn't feel the importance of that, so I left it. Sorry to Jaya Senapati or all the treatises. I didn't agree to that. And then comes the Gita. Gita is just a bit of Sahitya, since it is danced in Shiva temples. And it was practiced as a O. Harake, we say in Kannada, Harake, I don't know what you say in Telugu. Like we request God for something to happen. It happens and we offer our bhakti in the form of Perini in Shaiva temples. It was predominant in Shaiva temples to dance Perini. So the Gita I have written is on Shiva only. And though the treatises, I told you about 16 treatises, they give the techniques, but never they give the jatis. They give the talas, Nissaru tala and some Simana, but those talas are not used now. No singer will sing. No player will play for that talas. So I made it more easier and made it as a, for one I have taken Nissaru tala. Nissaru tala is Khanda, Jati, and 3 it comes, Laghu only. Only that I have taken, not other talas. So everything I wrote it, everything I pictured it. I just imagined myself and pictured it. And I know men can dance it very efficiently, I know. Because of the movements they have this shoulder movement, this thigh movement, and the foot. You have to jump. You had to just sit down with jumping. We can't. Girls, I know, it is difficult, but still, otherwise it will go off. It will be totally go off. So I thought I will do it It was first in 1999 I staged this Perini. From then I'm going on repairing it and reconstructing it and doing it and presenting it. And I have presented in many ways, even in America also I have presented. And I have given the demonstrations also. And this Perini is loved by all. Even the Gaundali is very beautiful. It is also, it is more than this, longer dance. And this is also like that. And then comes the next, this one. As I told you, he should dance for Tandava and Lasya. Can you play that? Perini 2. This is Lasya, done by a Perini dancer. That was the last year. Again repeating it. Tandava was also there. Dhim takita taka takita dhim takita tadhim. Maybe back. This is Kaivara. This is Kaivara, praising the Sabhapati. That was for Kaivara, praising the Sabhapati and asking his permission and asking his blessings to do the Perini Nritta. And I made my girls, because he has to have the empty, the shaven head. So these girls, how can they do that? And I put the tofen and I can't leave them as in Shastra Grantha, the bare chest or the bare ankles and the bare shank, and just put them the male dress. That's all I could do with my limitation of not having boys as my students. This is, I think, Tandava of Nritta part. No, Gargara. This is Gargara. Gargara. That is Kaluhala. Alagapata. That is Sirihara, Siripita, everything, all the movements. Padivata, Chavada. That was the Gargara. I think Gargara is over or another is there. This is Nritta. And that was Tandava in Nritta. It is Lasya. So that was both Tandava and Lasya in Nritta. This is Kavita. I think only that much, that Kavita part, I think. So, this was Kavita part. This is Geeta, the last Sahitya. So that the panju, we call it as panju, the torch light, with the fire they have to dance. But I can't make them to hold the fire, so I made it a dummy fire, and they dance even in the beginning with this, and even at the end also they dance with the fire. And he has not ever mentioned any hastas to be used. So, keeping in mind that the dancers are men, so no articulate hastas can be used here. So I have taken the hastas like Shikhara, Pataka, or the Shukatunda, or the Mushti, which denotes more of valor and men, or the masculine character in them. So, not the Chatura, or the Mrigashira, or the Katakamukha, or the Kapita. I haven't taken those hastas. It denotes the gentle and feminine quality. So I have taken like that. And these girls, now they are all in America. I don't know, we cannot help it. They learn with so much of sincerity. They can't be with me. And all of them are there, and whenever I need them, they come. It was on our 40th anniversary of our Nrityalaya Trust, 3 years back. It was in the year 2019, we performed 40 years of Nrityalaya, 3 days. And I showcased all the Karnataka dance forms like Perini, Gaundali, Suladi, Mukhachali, Swaramantana, Kaivada, Churnike, Daru, everything. It was a marga of itself, one day for itself only the Karnataka dance tradition. So I call it as KDT, Karnataka dance tradition only always. And the Gita, the Ankita is Tulsi Priya, Ankita name. And whatever I write in Tulsi Priya Ankita. So I wrote on Shiva. Gangadhara Neelakantha Jata Jutadhara Hara Shambho Hara Shambho. So this was the lyrics I could do. So the Gargara, they gave so much of importance. Jaya says that one who is efficient in these 5 types of Gargara or the Panchanga of Perini, he is said to be most intelligent, intellectual person in the world. He emphasized on these techniques, and there is Shuddha Padati and Chitra Padati also, as in Gaundali. Here also the music fully goes throughout the Gita, that is Shuddha. The Chitra, it stops in the Gargara time only. So I have taken the Shuddha Padati. Throughout the music will not be like the, other than the percussion. In Perini, percussion is most important. You must have listened that the percussion takes its main role here. They dance to the Alankara Talas. All the 7, I think you must have known the Alankara Talas. Dhruvatala, Mattatala, Rupakatala, Jampetala, and Ekatala, Attatala. For all these things, the Gargara Veda is done. And the Tandavalasya in different Khanda, Tishra, Mishra they have done. All these things, it takes long time to do a Perini, and also lot of energy. He says, Sabhajana Manohariya Nrityati Sa Peruni. He clearly says, he should attract the Sabha Jana. He should not just go on dancing himself. He should dance attracting the audience. Then only Perini. So that the Perini from this shloka, we can say it also had been danced in special occasions like utsavas in Shaiva temples, wherein we have the audience also there. If it is only single man will come and dance. Never he has told that Perini was danced in groups. We can't say it as group. Somewhere one of the treatises, they say Perini Nartakas, they should enter. When the Rigoni starts, they should enter. So we can say there must be the group of Perini. But most of them, they say single dancer. As Gaundali is not a group dance. She is alone. Gaundali. Even I have done the Gaundali as a group. 8 girls, they with the same age, with the same volume, they dance Gaundali. It's a very beautiful one. Again, for that, no Sahitya is available, no music is available, no jatis are available. Only basing on this, the Shastra, whatever the technique he gives, that I have taken and reconstructed it. And you must have heard our most scholar in this centenary, in this century, how he was, Mahaupadhyaya Ra Satyanarayana. You must have heard him. He was there and blessed, and he was happy that I could reconstruct these dances. He was very happy, and he was a Sabhapati also. And I am happy that I could do at least a little of that. I don't know, so the interpretation of gurus are different. But we have to follow the Shastra. Even Nartana Nirnaya also gives elaborate Perini dancers description. And even in our epics, can you show me the slide of epics? Yes, this. See, in Kannada literature, we find the Bhringishwara Ragale. Bhringi is one of the main ganas of Shiva. He always dances. So he dances Perini. It is in Harihara. He is one of the major poet of Kannada literature. The Ragales of Harihara are very much important to Kannada literature. And then Anantanatha Purana by Janna. That was in the 12th century onwards. He also explains that Perini dance was done in the Indra's Abhisheka, Pattabhisheka, Jinajanma Abhisheka. He tells. And then in Dharmanatha Purana, it's very strange that the Shastra Grantha says no women are danced Perini, but in Dharmanatha Purana, he is Bahubali, poet. He says a lady. He danced his feet as her tongue. Pada it's nalige embante nartisidalu Periniya, he says. Kale nalige embante. Kal is the feet. She danced. Because I told you, each part of the foot is it is danced with each part of the foot, and she danced. And this is the wonderful Virupaksha Pampasthana Varnana. It's very, very good kavya of only 80 pages. The poet Chandrasekhara, he explains in Virupaksha temple of Hampi how the dance was going, and he takes three types of dancers. One is purely Marga, second is the Deshi, third is the folk dances, Yogini, Jakkari, so many dances, Kaula, Gajra, these dances. That was the third type. And in Telugu literature, I came across Panditaradhya Charitamu by Palkurke Somanatha and Basava Purana. Basava Purana we have in Kannada also. It is direct translation of Telugu only. I don't know other treatises, maybe we may have other treatises also. So these are the sources we have, the sculptural sources also. It's very, very descriptive. Even if you look at the sculpture, we can picture the Perini dancer very well. So maybe even in Karnataka, Perini was danced exhaustively all over. And Jaya says it was equal in Andhra also. Go to the next. These are the sculptures in Hale Bidu. The instruments. Regarding the instruments, he says only the percussion, not other instruments. I know, because percussion is the main for this. That is the food for Perini and Tala. So that there it is the, we don't see any wind instrument or any string instrument there. Next. He has hold that. There also the chamara. He is holding here also a big one, the chamara, here also. And then that was there and magnified. Yes, hold it upwards, that chamara type. Then next. There also, wherever we see, he holds a chamara, not the weapon, not the weapon. He is not a hunter. No weapon is there. So, okay. Screw, go. Again, go. So these are all the Gargara Veda according to Sangeet Ratnakara. They say 6, and some of the only Jaya says 7th. Only Jaya. Dutta Ratnavali, he has Chavada, Padivada, Runda, Siribira, Kaluhala, Alagapata, and Siripita. That I was showing. That there is. So I thank you very much for this opportunity. Hope you must have convinced by my presentation of Perini. I am also very much curious to know the Perini of this region, because I haven't come across. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Questions, at the outset, I would like to welcome our Registrar Garu, Professor Bhattu Ramesh Garu, to this function. Thank you, sir, for being present. Ma'am, on behalf of the Dance Department, Putti Sri Ramlu Telugu University, I would like to thank you for this wonderful presentation. You have shown us the insights of Perini, how it is danced in Karnataka. I now call upon the students, if anybody has any questions to be asked, they are welcome. And I request Professor Chudamani Nandugopal Garu also to come onto the dais. Both of them would be taking the questions. I request ma'am also to come onto the dais. And the students, yeah, I will arrange for 2 chairs and students can ask their questions and ma'am would be ready to answer them. And after this, we have a small felicitation function. I request our chief guest of today's morning function, Professor Bhattu Ramesh sir, also to come on to the dais.
డాక్టర్ చూడమణి గారు, డాక్టర్ తులసి రామచంద్ర ఈరోజు ఇక్కడికి వచ్చి అంటే ఈ ప్రాంతంలో ఉన్నటువంటి పేరిణి సాంప్రదాయానికి, ఆ ప్రాంతంలో ఉన్నటువంటి పేరిణి సాంప్రదాయానికి శిల్పకళ నైపుణ్యం, అలాగే సాహిత్యంలో ఉన్నటువంటి విషయాల్ని కొన్ని మనకు తెలియజేశారు. తులసి రామచంద్రం గారు చెప్పారు ఏంటంటే నటరాజ రామకృష్ణ గారి రీకన్స్ట్రక్టర్ నేను చూడలేదు, వారిని నేను చూడలేదు అని చెప్పారు. నా ఓన్గా నేను శాస్త్రాన్ని ఆధారం చేసుకొని, శాస్త్రంలో చెప్పబడింది, తర్వాత ఆ ప్రాంతంలో ఉన్నటువంటి శిల్పాలని, అక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి సంగీతజ్ఞులు అంటే ఇప్పుడు సత్యనారాయణ గారి గురించి చెప్పారు, వాళ్ళందరూ, అలాగే గణేషన్ గారు, వాళ్ళందరి సహాయంతో పేరుని రీకన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేశారు. అలాగే గోండలి రీకన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేశారు. వారి ఆర్టికల్స్లో, వారి పుస్తకాలలో ఈ విషయాలన్నీ తెలిసారు. మన ప్రాంతము గురు నటరాజ రామకృష్ణ గారు రీకన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేసినటువంటి పేరుని తర్వాత ఈ మధ్యలో నేను మళ్ళీ స్త్రీల మధ్యలో ప్రవేశపెట్టిన పేరుని ప్రదర్శించే అవకాశం, ఇఫ్ వీ గెట్ సమ్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ఆపర్చునిటీ టు ప్రెజెంట్ దట్ పేరుని ఇన్ బెంగళూరు ఆర్ మైసూర్ ఎనీవే, we are ready to present that Perini, and it helps for both the states to know about Perini more and more and to develop each states also. That we can request our government also, otherwise your Nruch Academy or something also, or any other people, we are ready to present that Perini, what Guru Nataraj Ramakrishna Garu reconstructed, what is his conception, how he reconstructed that Panchangas. And he mentioned one thing, according to the Panchangas only, the present day Bharatanatyam, Mohiniyattam, Odissi are developed into women. So we can talk all these things and slowly we can develop about Perini. And all because Chudamani Garu is more scholar and she can also help in this matter. We are requesting you to organize, and we are inviting you in future more and more to give lectures and demonstrations and conduct workshops on behalf of university or private organizations or research scholars. And some of the research scholars are also very interested to know all these things. So you please oblige our request and do something for this.
Yeah. Now I request anybody has any questions, they can come onto the dais and. Okay. Chandu oka. Mic ichese వాళ్ళకి. Okay. Okay, any questions please? Yeah, come. I think, if you come onto the dais and talk, it would be recorded live and, the questions also would be recorded. If you talk from there, it won't be recorded. So I request anybody who has a question, please come onto the dais. You make use of the podium and they would answer. Yeah, come. On.
Thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful session today. My question is regarding the Gondhali dance. I have heard about Gondhal dance in Maharashtra, which is a very folk dance form which is performed during weddings, because I am from Maharashtrian origin. So it is also performed in front of Tulja Bhavani as an offering to the Devi in the form of dance. So I want to understand, is there any relationship between this Gondhali and that Gondhali?
No, no. That is only the devotional dance form, Bhakti Nritya, you can say. And this Gondhali has all the classism in it. It has Pushpanjali, it has Alapachari, it has the Dhrutagati Vadya, and it has Jakka. So many technicals are there. And those Gondala, I know, they call it as Gondala in Karnataka. Not Gondala, they call it as Gondala. Gondala hakodu, they say. And they dance in front of Tulja Bhavani. If their Graha Devata is Tulja Bhavani, and then they dance according to their pleasure. It's like pleasing her. That's all. It doesn't connect with this Gondali. No, it is not.
Okay.
Add to that, it is like offerings, the family offerings to the Amba Bhavani or the Tulja Bhavani, and they will be moving in circular form, and a group of dancers coming, and there will be one instrument which will be playing with the just drone.
Yeah.
Ting, 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 it will be
Tun, tun.
making tun,
Yeah.
tun. That's all, and there will be different kinds of singing. So that is a different one. It's more of offering type of thing, which is we consider as folk. It is not folk. It is Janapada. That is people. Lok Sangeet or Lok Nritya. That is the thing. Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Ma'am's books are also available in the auditorium if anybody wants to buy. It is costed at rupees 400.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Thanks for the wonderful presentations by both of you. In fact, it's quite a new thing to understand Perini from Karnataka aspect as such, because we have heard Kalakrishna sir talk about how it is in Hyderabad and the reconstruction process. Couple of questions. I have to Chodamani ma'am first. There was a bit about I don't know whether to call them the Devasis. Okay, the artists who were dedicated to the temples. One of them passed away in '83. I just happened to read that. What I wanted to ask you was, we associate more the Devdasi dance form to the Bharatanatyam of the current tradition. What were they actually dancing? Were they dancing the Gondali because they are females? Or do you think it has a connect with the Mysore style of dance that we have today, which seems to be a little extinct as far as we understand the origin of the Tanjore brothers coming over to Karnataka and changing and reforming the form? According to what you said, it has changed quite a bit now. But when these people were dancing, the Dasis were dancing, were they dancing the original traditional Desi forms in their presentation, because that is also an offering, or were they more towards what you see in the so-called Bharatanatyam of what came up later? That's the first question. After that, I'll come to ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah, as I was mentioning about the Pattadakal temple, they were the temple dancer, Veena Poti, her name. And at that time, till 10th century, as my research goes, we don't find any difference between regional variations. It's more of Natya Shastric tradition. All over India, you find the Natya Shastra. Wherever you go, because the testimony is the sculptures. There is no variations. But when you start coming to the, after crossing 10th century, when we have Kalyana Chalukyas, Paramaras, Pratiharas, Sevunas, Palas, Senas, these are all regional, dynasties all over India. Cholas.
Yeah, the Cholas.
in south. Pallava, it is Natyashastra.
So from Cholas it changed.
It is. So 10th century, because they all come from 10th century, and you find regional texts written. Now Jayasenapati, though he has written in Sanskrit, it's a regional text. So like that, from 10th century we get all the regional variations, and those variations have been used even by the sculptors. And today also we are using most of the Deshi thing. Even today's practicing tradition, whether it is Bharatanatyam or Kuchipudi or any form, we are using, but we don't know whether it is Deshi.
I say what I see in Bharatanatyam today, thanks to the necessity for intervention by people like Rukmini Devi Arundel for cutting out the deflections in the waist. But even in Mysore style, as of what I see, that much of curbing is not there. It's not so straight as we see in some of the traditions which we see in the Chennai form. Mysore style is a little more of lasya, that probably has its origin in some of the older forms that existed then earlier.
No, for that, we may have to either conduct a workshop or to give you what is the Mysore school of dance. Because I presented in Bani festival in Chennai, when there was a Bani festival in Kalakshetra.
Right.
I presented on Mysore Bani. In Mysore Bani we have 4 variations. That is, one is court style, that is in Mysore. Second, Muguru. Some of the Devadasis belonging to Muguru, and they were performing in Tripura Sundari Devi temple. So they are known as Muguru. And the third is Nanjanagudu. Near Mysore, there is a place, Nanjanagudu. So the Devadasis belonging to that area, they retained that Guru Parampara. And that became. And my tradition comes from Kolar tradition. So my Guru belongs to Kolar tradition. He is the only belonging to Devadasi tradition living Guru today. He is 97 years old, Bharata Kalamani Radha Krishna. So he is belonging to that Kolar Kittanna, the famous Kolar Kittanna, Yajamana Kittanna he was called. And he had 400 dancers under him at one time. And he divided them into some to present in royal courts, some in temples, and some for the marriage ceremony and all these other things, social functions.
So they had a different repertoire for each.
For each they had different repertoire. So as I said, it is all these 4 put together we call it as Mysore. That is where in this book
all influences were there.
We'll give you this introduction.
We'll definitely read that, ma'am.
All this.
Sure. Lot more to ask, but probably not the forum.
No, for your questions, I think that book will give so many answers.
Sure. We'll go through that, yes. And to ma'am, wonderful presentation, ma'am, by you.
Thank you.
What I wanted to ask about 3 things. One is a question from one of our dear scholars about a little more elaboration on the word achala that you were talking about. Sorry, I'm so sorry. And coming to you, you were talking about, I would call it the Khanda Ekatraya. I mean, you had put Khanda in Ekatala, but 3 rounds of Khanda, right? Khanda Jati. So you were also mentioning about the use of talas. Was it the Saptashuladi talas that were used in the times earlier? Then what was the need for you to have one more, we have in Tirupugar, we have so many talas. It's not that it's not there. But what was the reason or the purpose behind you adding a different tala to an already existing system? That was a little intriguing for me.
See, the Shastra Kara says the Gargara Veda should be danced in 7 talas.
Right.
The Saptasuladi talas. The Nritta, the Tandava and Lasya should be danced in different gatis. Right. Khanda, you can take Adi Tala or you can take Rupaka Tala. Any Tala you can take, but you have to have the Nade, the Gatis in different. Like Khanda, I have taken the Lasya and Tishra, and even in Mishra, I think here it was not there in clipping. And I have taken the Tandava in Khanda And even in Gati, yes.
I got that wrong. Got it. So it was not Jati. That was the mistake I did.
Yes.
Okay.
It was not the Jati. Jati is, I have taken the Lagu count is Jati.
Then that is Saptashuladi only with the Gati Bhedam,
yes,
which is
yes,
quite within
that
the...
is
system we have.
I have written this book on, I forgot to show you. This is my book on Goundali and Perini. So it was, and my sister has written the foreword on to this also. And it was released on 2010, but it is in Kannada.
Yes.
Yes, I am working on this translation of this book
I think
also.
I have many more, but later. That one bit on Achala, ma'am, if you could answer. First, one of the scholars there. Yeah.
After her, we'll take only a couple of questions more because ma'am has a flight to catch at 4 o'clock. She has to be there at the airport. So we will be able to take another 2 questions.
Achalada, in inscription it is mentioned as Achalada Bharata. That means he was like a Bharata in 8th century. See, only Bharata's name we don't find in inscriptions. Here we find he was like Bharata, Achalada Bharata, in all Shastra, and there was no competitor in those days parallel to him. And there is also one mention of one very technical term it is used. Even I am also working on that and thinking about it. He says that at the end of the inscription, Agratala Sanchara. So this is a technical word, as we all know. So why he has used this Agratala Sanchara? So you know what is Agratala Sanchara, all of you, where you will have that prominence to the Udghatita and for that. So then I saw the next to that Achalada Bharata inscription, there is one sculpture which I have shown you. When you observe it, it is completely Agratala Sanchara, that movement. So maybe that inscription is related to that. Whether he is the model for that kind of dancer in the Virupaksha temple, was Achalada himself was a model for the sculptor? So these are all some questions. When we go in one inscription, it creates so many questions for us. And they are all technically related. That is what is interesting. So 8th century, very much it is Natya Shastra tradition. We get all these terminology, name of Bharata and all those things. Yeah. You can read in detail about Achalada Bharata. Maybe in my book which is going to come, we'll have a detail, the entire part of the inscription I am giving there. It's there, you can be. Yeah.
Any more questions? Okay. I request our Registrar Garki మాట్లాడవలసిందిగా కోరుతున్నాను.
సభకు నమస్కారం. ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి సభాధ్యక్షత వహిస్తున్న శాఖాధిపతి నృత్య శాఖ డాక్టర్ వనజా ఉదయ్ గారికి, అదేవిధంగా ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి లెక్చర్ డెమోగా చేయడానికి వచ్చేసిన ప్రొఫెసర్ చూడామణి నందగోపాల్ గారికి, అదేవిధంగా డాక్టర్ తులసి రామచంద్ర గారికి, ఇక్కడ పాల్గొంటున్న విద్యార్థులకు, అధ్యాపకులకు అందరికీ నేను అనుకోవటం ఏంటంటే, మీరు ఈ 2-2.5 గంటలు లెక్చర్ డెమోని ఎంజాయ్ చేసినని అనుకుంటున్నాను. ఎంజాయ్ అంటే మీరు కొన్ని విషయాలు, కొత్త విషయాలు నేర్చుకుంటారని చెప్పి అనుకుంటున్నాం. ముఖ్యంగా నేను వచ్చేటప్పటికే 10 నిమిషాలు చివరకు చూడటం జరిగింది. కళాకృష్ణ గారు లాంటి వాళ్లకు పేరిణి నృత్యానికి మనకు వాళ్ళకున్న సంబంధ బాంధ్యాలను మళ్ళీ అధ్యయనం చేయడానికి ఒక అవకాశం దొరికిందనే భావిస్తున్నాను. ఎందుకంటే నటరాజ రామకృష్ణ గారు కూడా రామప్ప దేవాలయం లాంటి శిల్పాల మీద అధ్యయనం చేయడం జరిగింది. వాళ్ళు చూపించిన ప్యానల్స్ కూడా దేవాలయాలకు సంబంధించిన ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి ఇదొకటి. రెండో విషయం, ఇలాంటి లెక్చర్ డెమో అనేది మన విశ్వవిద్యాలయంలో డ్యాన్స్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ కావచ్చు, మ్యూజిక్ కావచ్చు, థియేటర్ కావచ్చు, అన్ని విభాగాలకు సంబంధించిన వాళ్ళు ఫైనల్ సెమిస్టర్ కంటే ముందుగా ఒక వారం 10 రోజులు ముందుగా 3 రోజులు లేదా 4 రోజులు చేస్తే బాగుంటుంది అనేది నా సూచన మాత్రమే ఇది. ఎందుకంటే విద్యార్థులకు మన దగ్గర జరుగుతున్న నృత్య ప్రదర్శనలే కాకుండా భారతదేశంలో ఏ విధమైన రీతిలో నృత్యాన్ని ప్రదర్శిస్తున్నారు, ఏ మెథడాలజీని వాళ్ళు ఫాలో అవుతున్నారు, అంటే మనకు వాళ్ళకున్న రిలేషన్స్ ఏమున్నాయి అనేది కూడా మన విద్యార్థులకు, ముఖ్యంగా పరిశోధకులకు తెలియాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంది. నిజంగా చెప్పాలంటే ఇప్పుడు ఒక కొత్త క్వశ్చన్ వినటం జరిగింది, డ్యాన్స్కును ఫోక్ ఏ విధంగా సంబంధం ఉన్నదనేది. గోందెళి అనేది ఒక డ్యాన్స్ ఫార్మా కాదనేది క్వశ్చన్ వేయటం జరిగింది. కానీ గోందెళి నాకు తెలిసిన ఏదైనా డ్యాన్స్ ఫామ్ నాకు తెలిసినంత వరకు వస్తే శిల్పాల నుంచి రావాలి, లేకపోతే జానపదాల నుంచి రావాలి. ఏదైనా మనం క్రియేట్ చేయాల్సిందే. ఇవన్నీ ముఖ్యంగా గోందెళి అనేది మన తెలంగాణలో కూడా ఉంది. ముఖ్యంగా కరీంనగర్, వరంగల్ ప్రాంతంలో ఫోక్ థియేటర్గా ప్రదర్శనిస్తుంటారు వాళ్ళు. దే ఆర్ మైగ్రేటెడ్ ఫ్రమ్ మహారాష్ట్ర. దే ఆర్ డిపెండింగ్ కమ్యూనిటీస్ ఆఫ్ ఆర్య మరాఠీ ఆర్ మహారాష్ట్రన్ మరాఠియన్ పీపుల్. కాబట్టి వాళ్ళు అంబాభవాని కానీ పూజలకు సంబంధించిన థియేటర్ ఫార్మాట్స్లో లేదా వీధి నాటకంకి సంబంధించిన నృత్యాలు చేస్తారు. అదేవిధంగా పద్యాలు లాంటివి కూడా వాళ్ళు పాడతారు. బహుశా దానికిను మీరు చెప్పిన, అంటే నా క్వశ్చన్ కూడా అది కేవలం గోందెలనే వర్డ్ అర్థమైంది కాబట్టి దానికి దీనికి ఏమైనా రిలేషన్ ఉందా అనేది కూడా భవిష్యత్తులో రీసెర్చర్ చేయాల్సింది. మీరు గోందెలి విభాగం వాళ్ళు 7 to 8 days ప్రదర్శనిస్తారు, నైట్ అండ్ డే. ఇప్పటికి కూడా వరంగల్ జిల్లా పరకాల ప్రాంతంలో సుమారు 2-3 గ్రూప్స్ వాళ్ళు చేస్తున్నారు. కాబట్టి ఈ 2 లెక్చర్ డెమోని ఇచ్చిన మేడం, వీఆర్ వెరీ థ్యాంక్ఫుల్ ఫ్రమ్ అవర్ యూనివర్సిటీ. అండ్ మా పిల్లలకు కూడా ఇది ప్రతి సెమిస్టర్కు నేను వనజ ఉదయ్ గారికి కానీ, రేపు రత్నశ్రీ గారు కానీ, ఇంకెవరికైనా విజయ పాత్లోతు, తర్వాత మన మిత్రులందరికీ అధ్యాపకులకు అందరికీ చెప్పేది ఏంటంటే ఖచ్చితంగా 4-5 రోజులు ఫైనల్ సెమిస్టర్ ముందు పెడితే బాగుంటుంది. అదేవిధంగా వీళ్ళు పెయింటింగ్ తర్వాత స్కల్చర్ వాళ్ళు కూడా ప్రతి సెమిస్టర్కు ముందు పెట్టినట్టయితే మన పిల్లలు కూడా వేరే ప్రాంతం వాళ్ళతోటి కొంత లింక్ ఏర్పడుతుందని భావిస్తూ ఈ అవకాశం ఇచ్చిన మీ అందరికీ కూడా కృతజ్ఞతలు తెలియజేస్తున్నాను. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్.
Thank you so much, sir. I now request our Registrar Garu to felicitate both the speakers of today's morning. Initially, I request our Registrar Garu to felicitate Professor Dr. Chudamani Nandagopalji with a shawl memento. And I request our Registrar Garu to felicitate Dr. Tulsi ji, Ramchandra ji with a shawl memento and a token of appreciation. Memento. I request Sri Kalakrishna Garu to propose vote of thanks. Sharda Reddy Garu, Indra, Sudhakar Ratna, Dr. Vijay Pal Patlot.
ఈనాటి ఈ లెక్చర్ డెమాన్స్ట్రేషన్స్కి వచ్చేసినటువంటి డాక్టర్ చూడామణి నందగోపాల్, డాక్టర్ తులసి రామచంద్ర గారికి హృదయపూర్వక కృతజ్ఞతలు. ఎందుకంటే గత 4 సంవత్సరాలుగా నేను చూడామణి గారిని రండి ఒక లెక్చర్ ఇవ్వండి, మా గురువు గారు లేరు కాబట్టి మాకు తెలిసిన విషయాలు చెప్పండి అని అడిగినప్పుడు ఎప్పుడూ వీలు కాలేదు. బట్ అదృష్టవశాత్తు నిన్న రామప్ప టెంపుల్లో యునెస్కో టీంకి ఆవిడ లెక్చర్ ఇవ్వడం జరిగింది. అక్కడికి వారు రావడం జరిగింది. షార్ట్ టైంలోనే మేము ఆవిడని రిక్వెస్ట్ చేస్తే ఇక్కడికి వచ్చారు. ఎందుకంటే ఆవిడ అక్కడి నుంచి రావాలి, ఇక్కడ ఉండాలి అంటే 2-3 సంవత్సరాలు మనకు కోవిడ్ ప్రాబ్లం ఉంది కాబట్టి వారు రాలేకపోయారు. అలాగే తులసి రామచంద్ర గారు కూడా, అంటే మనకు ఆన్లైన్లో మాకు ఒక లెక్చర్ డెమాన్స్ట్రేషన్ ఇచ్చారు పేరుని గురించి. బట్ ఈరోజు ఆవిడని స్వయంగా చూడడం జరిగింది. ఆవిడ చేసినటువంటి ఎఫర్ట్స్ని కూడా మనం తెలుసుకోగలిగాము. వారికి మా కృతజ్ఞతలు తెలుపుతున్నాము. అలాగే ఇంత తక్కువ సమయంలో నృత్య శాఖ ద్వారా తెలుగు విశ్వవిద్యాలయం వారు ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని ఏర్పాటు చేయడానికి, ఈ హాల్ ప్రొవైడ్ చేయడానికి ఏర్పాటు చేసినందుకు వారికి కూడా కృతజ్ఞత తెలుపుతున్నాము. ముఖ్యంగా ఈనాడు ఈ లెక్చర్ వినడానికి మీరందరూ వచ్చారు. కనీసం ఈ 2 గంటల లెక్చర్లో ఎంతో కొంత అవగాహన కలిగి ఎన్నో కొన్ని విషయాలు తెలుసుకోగలిగారని నేను అనుకుంటున్నాను. ఎందుకంటే స్థానికంగా ఉన్నవాళ్ళు పేరిణిని చూసుంటారు, నటరాజ రామకృష్ణ గారి పేరిని. అలాగే ఈ మధ్యన ప్రచారంలో వస్తున్నటువంటి స్త్రీలు ప్రదర్శిస్తున్నటువంటి పేరిని, తర్వాత సంగీత నృత్య కళాశాలలో దాన్ని ప్రవేశపెట్టిన రీతి, ఇవన్నీ స్థానికంగా ఉన్న వాళ్ళకి తెలుసు, కానీ అందరికీ తెలియదు. కాబట్టి ఇది ఒక రకమైనటువంటి అనుభవంలాగా నేను అనుకుంటున్నాను. భవిష్యత్తులో ఇందాక సార్ చెప్పినట్టుగా భవిష్యత్తులో ఏంటంటే 2 రాష్ట్రాల మధ్యలో ఒక అవగాహన కలిగి ఇంకా దీన్ని వర్క్షాప్స్ ద్వారా కానీ మనం అభివృద్ధి చేసుకుంటే భావితరాలకి ఒక మనం మంచి సాంప్రదాయాన్ని అందించిన వాళ్ళం అవుతామని అనుకుంటున్నాను. ప్రతి ఒక్కరికి, అంటే ముఖ్యంగా ఈరోజు లైవ్ కూడా దీన్ని ప్రజెంట్ చేసాము. ఎందుకంటే ఇక్కడికి రాని వాళ్ళకి, కొంతమంది ప్రొఫెసర్స్కి, కొంతమంది యూనివర్సిటీ పీపుల్కి, వాళ్ళందరికీ కూడా లైవ్ చూసే అవకాశం కల్పించారు మన చిత్రశాల వాళ్ళు. అందరికీ పేరు పేరున కృతజ్ఞత తెలుపుతూ నమస్కారం. ఇప్పుడు మన రిజిస్టర్ గారికి సన్మానం రెడ్డి శ్యామల గారు చేస్తున్నారు. మురళికి, తర్వాత అందరికీ పేరు పేరున థ్యాంక్స్ చెప్తున్నాను. ఎందుకంటే రెడ్డి శ్యామల గారు మన రిజిస్టర్ గారిని కొంచెం వంగేటట్టుగా కూడా చేశారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ ఎవ్రీవన్.